Hello students, I'm Professor Plinio Monteiro, and in this video I'm going to explain what are the intermediate entry modes. The main type of intermediate entry modes can be defined as these alternatives. First, contract manufacturing, licensing, franchising, joint venture, and strategic alliances. Contract manufacturing is basically when you have a contract to outsource your production. Usually when you are a high-tech or a company that has some patents or high-tech products, microelectronic devices, and then you can have a contract with a company in a third country that will produce in your behalf your products. Usually companies that are located in countries under development. In that case, this partner will be specialized in the production and also the technology that you're going to give to them to allow them to produce under using all your knowledge. When this alternative is interesting, first, when you need to produce something very close to your customers. For instance, a microelectronic company trying to sell products in Brazil, probably they need to be here in Brazil to produce here, because if they don't produce here, then it will have the government will create a lot of tariff and non-tariff barriers that will increase the price of your products. So if you are a microelectronic company trying to operate in Brazil, probably you need to be here. And also, sometimes companies go to this approach to use the low cost of productions in countries under development. So they can go to produce clothes in Bangladesh or India, or microelectronics in Asian countries like China. Also, when you have some very high costs for transportation, so suppose that you're producing in China, but you're planning to sell to Brazil. Depending on your product, could be very costly to transport the products there to here. If this is true, then you can choose to have your contract manufacturing with a business in Brazil to produce here. Of course, you need to take into account the costs of production and how these will affect compared to the transportation costs. And as a very general example, the existence of trade barriers. If you have a lot of trade barriers, then probably you can have a partnership with a local firm to avoid these trade barriers, because then you can produce with a partnership within a local firm. Let me give an example why many companies moved to China since the 90s. Basically because they have a lot of tariff and non-tariff barriers. You know that is in the past was almost impossible to establish your business in China without any kind of partnership or relation with a local firm. And sometimes this can be a contract manufacturing, and other times this can be a joint venture that I'm going to explain in the next slides. Licensing is another intermediate entry mode. In that case, you're going to give the right to a manufacturer, and this manufacturer will pay you some percentage of their sales or some fixed amount of money to have the right to use your brands, your knowledge, and your networks of, for instance, suppliers all around the world. And usually, this license can be related to many different factors, like the patent or the product process. You can have the manufacturing know-how, then you can give the license, and then you can to show the business, show the partner how they can produce using your know-how. This can be related to the technical device and assistance, so you can help them to do something. Sometimes this license can be related to the use of your marketing knowledge or assistance to promote the products. And of course, the use of a trademark or the brand name of your business. This is a very interesting approach, and if you have if you trust in the other partner, then licensing can be a very interesting approach. We also have the franchising. In that case, you're going to exchange the rights between the franchisor and the franchisee, and the franchisee will have the right to use all your business concept, everything that belongs to your business. It's not just a small part of a license, it's much more. It's basically all your business model. This will include the trademarks, and this will include your production, access to our suppliers, and so on. And usually you can have just franchising in the product and brand name. For instance, Lego is using that for entering into new markets, so they give the franchisee the right to sell their products there, and they can use the product and the brand name. And also you can have the franchising related to the entire business model. It's a full package for exporting your business model. In general, what factors can be related to the franchising business model? The trademarks are the most common factor. So you're going to use the brand of the one that are giving the right to you. The patent and copyrights to use a product or a service. Also, business know-how and other trade secrets can be related to these franchising. There's geographic exclusivity. So sometimes when you are a franchisee, you have the right to explore a certain area in the country, like a city or a state or region. Also, you can have the support to the store design. So basically, they will tell you what are the elements of the appearance of the store, the colors, the elements, and they can give you these elements to help you using properly the business model. Also, they can give access to market research, so they can give you estimates of the market potential or the current demand, or they can tell you the consumer behavior, and this will help you in establishing the business in using the knowledge and the elements of the franchisor. And finally, they can help you in choosing the best location for establishing your business. Many different companies in the restaurant and the food sector use franchising as a way to operate abroad. We can name McDonald's, we can name Subway, and many other chains of restaurants that use this approach to be a global company. The joint venture is another intermediate entry mode. In that case, it's an equity partnership between two partners, usually two partners. Usually you have two parents, two companies that you create a child, the joint venture. So basically, in that case, two businesses will join together to create a third company to operate in a foreign market. Of course, you can use joint venture for other approaches, but in that case, you can use that for entering into a new market. And then you can have, for instance, a company in the home country that are trying to enter into a target market, and then you can find within local companies a good partner in the host country, in the target market, and then you can have this partnership and create a third company to explore the local market. Or also you can have companies that belong to different countries. They can join together to enter into another market. These are some alternatives for creating the joint venture for entering into new markets. And what's interesting about the joint venture? First, you have access to complementary technology or management skills that can lead to new opportunities. For instance, Suppose that you have the technology, you have the software, you have the hardware, and you know that a local firm know how to operate the business there, they know the target market, and they know how to adapt your technologies to operate there. So this can benefit both parts. Also, if you use a joint venture, it's very useful for accelerating the speed of entering into the market. Since you have some local company with a lot of specific content, specific knowledge about the target market, then this company can help you in spreading your products and services much faster than you will be able alone. Also, you're going to share basically most of your costs. Your research and development and production costs, usually in a joint venture, will be like 50-50. So we're going to make a division of 50% per each partner. And also, the use of joint venture is very useful for reducing some regulatory risks. So if you are a foreign company operating in a target market, the government can create some problems to you. But if you are a local company that was created by a local company in a foreign company, then probably the government you have, it will be more difficult for the government to create problems to you, because basically this business, it's a local firm, it's not a foreign firm. And for instance, we have some countries that create restrictions to foreign ownership, like China. You know, China since 2000, in the end of 2019, China start opening, reducing this barrier. But in the past, to establish your business there, you need to have some kind of local partnership. And joint venture was a very common way to enter into the Chinese market. In general, you can also use strategic alliances to establish your business abroad. And what will be the difference between the joint venture and the strategic alliance? In the case of the joint venture, two parent firms will join together to create a third company, a joint venture. And in the case of strategic alliance, you have a non-entity joint venture. In that case, basically the two companies will keep their operations separately, they will keep their own operations, and some contracts will establish the way that they're going to operate in the foreign market. So sometimes you don't need to create another business to have a joint venture to operate abroad. You can have a partnership and then keeping your own identity, your own brand, your own structure, but then the contracts will establish the way that you're going to run your operations together with your partner. Let's then take a look in the value chain structure of intermediate entry modes. Let's look to the contract manufacturing. So basically, in that case, your research and development and your marketing sales services, you do that by yourself in the home country or sometimes in a third country. And then you're going to use a partner by giving this contract to produce your product in the foreign target market. And then your operations of sales and marketing will be directed to the foreign market, but the production was done by a third company, by the big company, another company, to achieve the target market. Let's look to the licensing. So basically, you develop your technology with the research and development in the home country or a third country, and then you give the licensing. You give the license to the licensee, and this licensee will have the responsibility to produce, to make the marketing, and to sell the product in the foreign market. Let's look to franchising. You have the franchisor. You have then you're going to develop the business model and have the marketing, but then you're going to give the right to another companies to produce using your standards and to sell the service in the target market. Let's look to the strategic alliances and joint ventures. First, we can have what we call an X coalition. In that case, you have some upstream specialists, some company that are able to develop the technology and to produce your products and services. And then you're going to have or a strategic alliance or a joint venture with a downstream specialist, basically a company that is focused in marketing and sales. And then joining together this X coalition, then you're going to have this joint venture or a partnership to join the strengths of the upstream specialists and the downstream specialists into a concrete or a joint venture to reach a specific given a specific target market. And as you can see, the downstream specialist is located in the foreign market. And finally, we can have this coalition. That is basically when you have two companies that develop their own research and development, production, marketing, sales. Both companies are very good on that, and they start having some exchanges. And in these exchanges, they are going to join forces to operate in the foreign market. In that case, both companies are located in the home country or in another country, and they join together to explore a third country, a third market, a third foreign market. This is this kind of coalition. We finish our presentation on the intermediate entry modes. In the next video, I'm going to explain the hierarchical entry modes. See you! Bye!